Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I am that dude, Bodkins.
Yeah, DP lost like, deep. Yeah.
Right, where he's wondering, he's like, I
Patty to patty.
One style, like no weight classes.
Yeah, basically, like I said, there's been a couple guys that are like,
It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy.
That's just not my mentality, bro.
Yeah. Leave the ladder down. That's my always like, hey, somebody helped you out. Why not help somebody else out? Return.
Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkins Show.
Or bringing Craig Counsell down the interstate in a move unexpected. I had people.
I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
Good evening, folks. We are back. Welcome to another great episode of the Bodkins Show. I am your host, Bodkins. Sorry if you try to tune in for the weekly this morning. I had the in-laws in. Johnny Cruz won't speak to me. He's still sick to his stomach for that Thanksgiving Day showdown that my Packers put on him. What a wild week in the NFL already. First, man, we got to go back to Thursday. I don't really want to. We won't get into the stats on Thursday, and Friday. Only the Bears and Raiders lose those games the way they did. The Bears, they didn't even wait 24 hours and finally said, "See you later, Matt Eberflus. You just made us look like an idiot on national television." And they even let him go one further. How about they let him do his presser? And he states, I'm fully confident I'll be the Bears head coach next week. Well, you couldn't even make it out the building. So Bears were like, hey, let him address why he was an idiot yesterday, why we let 45 seconds go off with the timeout, and we couldn't get a game time field goal off. Let him explain to the idiots, because we don't even know. But then they fire him from all purposes. It looks like they like their interim. He's been the OC the last few games. Their offense has looked pretty well. Caleb's looked well the last few weeks, but nonetheless, the Lions get the big win. That Lions win, and then the Raiders it looked like they were going to pull off the upset against the Chiefs, and then what were the Raiders doing? Just kneel it or something, I don't know what they were doing, but nonetheless, the Chiefs win again. To kind of help me talk about all today's action, filling in from the bullpen, give it up for our own Mr. Scott Cobe.
Johnny Cruz
Scott,
is back.
What's up,
again.
my man?
Johnny Cruz is back again. Here I am. Matt Eberflus had the security come in the last question and said, excuse me, sir, we need to see you immediately up in the offices, please. So, gone.
I've watched a lot of football. I don't know what was happening what were they thinking? It just goes to, you know what I mean? We and Johnny have said this, and you probably have heard this before. More teams, and we'll get into a lot of teams today in the NFL, more games are lost and more games are won. And the Bears lost that game. The Raiders definitely lost that game. You know what I mean? I don't want to take anything away from the Chiefs and Lions, but maybe the Lions win in overtime, but Jesus, it's for the Bears to lose like that is sad. And same with the Raiders.
Yeah, Bill Cowher said he just froze. He just froze on the sideline. He didn't know what to do. It's just coaches. It happens to them once in a while. He just freeze, and he froze. Caleb Williams should at least call a timeout. It's up to your quarterback too. If your coach isn't doing anything, you got to just say, "Hey, timeout. We got to reset." And he didn't do that either. So a lot of the blame goes to Eberflus. Some of it goes to Caleb Williams or any of the players on offense. I'd be screaming timeout if I'm a lineman or a wide receiver or something. He deserved to. The way he's been coaching the last 6 or 7 weeks, this is deserved. So to be honest,
he probably should have never been hired, or not. He should have never been brought back in from last year. Like Jim Harbaugh was out there for this team to get. Like he has ties to the Bears. Him and Caleb could have done wonders together. You know what I mean? And then he just should not have been brought back. Now Caleb's going to go into year 2 with a new head coach, new OC. And he's looked better as of late. Like I get the yesterday's or Thursday's play. Probably he definitely should have called timeout. But man, like, you know, and he said he kind of took some on and said he changed the play, but you got to call timeout or something. Like, you know, he's got to have self-awareness as well. But it's on the head coach, you know, then like that's his responsibility.
Yeah, and if you're a quarterback, you got a clock in your head. I mean, you wasted 20 to 25 seconds on that last play. Yeah. And that's unforgivable. You got to either snap it or call a timeout. You just got to get the play off quicker or the ball out quicker. And
it's a learning thing, right? Like he'll learn from this. He's still a young quarterback. He'll learn from it, hopefully, and you know, he'll move on. Chiefs, I don't know how they keep doing it. They find ways to win, I guess, or other teams playing against them find ways to lose.
You're 11-1, and your point differential can't be any more than 30 points for the whole season, 30 to 50 points. I mean, you're just winning games by the skin of your teeth. You're doing just enough to win games, and eventually it's going to come back to bite you. I don't know when, but it's going to. And
good teams find a ways to win, I guess. You know what I mean?
You know, Nick, as well as anybody. They've been through the wars the last 2.5 years. They won 2 Super Bowls in a row. Yeah. They know what to do. They have a veteran team. Who knows if the Raiders scored? Mahomes might have come down and scored and threw a touchdown pass to win the game. So
yeah, as long as they got 15, I'm not betting against them. And I know he's not having great numbers, and they're not putting up gaudy numbers, but they're winning games. You know what I mean? And they clinched. They're the first team to clinch the playoff spot. So there's that.
Yeah.
So
Chiefs, Packers, Lions,
Eagles,
Ravens. Yeah, Eagles. I'm a little worried about their passing game. It's not looking good. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to their game, but there's only 4 or 5 teams that you can say could reach the Super Bowl right now.
I think the Eagles could. I mean, what Saquon's doing. I mean, you know what I mean. I think the Lions and the Eagles are the 2 best teams in the football after where we sit today.
I do as well. I mean, Saquon's carrying that team right now. It's just amazing to watch what he's doing. So
yeah, Bills can clinch with a win tonight. That division stinks. The Jets, we'll get into them. Another, heartbreaking loss at a game that they had a lead in. So much for that vaunted Jets defense that was supposed to be so fucking good. Let me ask you this real quick. A lot, Barkley has been killing it. He's been by far him and Henry, Joe Mixon, even Josh Jacobs. Like they're the 4 running backs that found new teams. Barkley could be MVP. Do you got him? I think Josh Allen could be MVP as well.
Somebody said a stat that the MVP has come from the number 1 seeds in the NFL in the last, handful of years, 1 or 2 seeds. So for Barkley to be in consideration, I think they got to get the 1 or 2, which they should get the 2 at the worst. So right now it's looking like Mahomes, Goff, Saquon. Lamar lost today. That's probably done with him. He's too many losses. So,
I think. Did you say Josh Allen? I think Allen's
Josh Allen. 2. That's 4. Josh Allen. That's 4. I think he's the front runner right now. He can. He's the one that is the guy to lose it. And then I think Saquon's second. To be honest with you, I really do. I mean, what he's doing against Baltimore today, he was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah. He's by far. I mean, if you're a Giants fan, you're just looking at the Saquon and what your team is doing and just saying, Jesus, you know what I mean? Like we fired Joe Shane today. Like every time if I'm a Giants fan and probably Dayball and everybody else needs to go. But let's get into today's game. Today's week, we'll start in Jacksonville where the dead carcass that is Trevor Lawrence was laid out to rest. I mean, if you have not seen the hit, please look at it. He leaves the game with a concussion and just an absolute brutal hit. This Texans team they win today, but this is a game like they should have won by more than 3. to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars without Trevor Lawrence for most of this game. And they give up 14 in the fourth quarter, and they barely survive here, 23-20. 22 at 34, 242 yards, 1 touchdown for CJ Stroud. Joe Mixon, we just mentioned, he's been absolutely phenomenal for them. 20 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Nico Collins, 8 for 119. You get to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, Trevor Lawrence is out. If you're probably his fantasy owner or have starting him, I don't know why you would be, but he probably won't play next week either, so maybe he might be out 2 weeks. The Mac Jones show continues, 20 of 32, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. Travis Etienne, 13 carries for 46. Parker Washington, 6 for 103 and a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. continues his stellar rookie year at 4 for 76 and a touchdown. Scott, this Texans team, they're going to run away with this division only because it's a crap division, but they're not. CJ Stroud has regressed. I was talking to our guys at over there at the Just Fans, and they kind of agree. They are all out on Bobby Slovic as their OC. They are all out. Like Bobby Slovic was he was the shiny star last year. Was getting head coaching jobs and things like that. I think that's long gone. And I think I've heard rumors and murmurs that he may be done at the OC as the OC as well in Jacksonville or in Tampa or Houston.
Yeah, ever since when Nico Collins went out, they were playing well. As soon as he went out, they stopped playing well. And even when Nico's come back, they still haven't played well. So they've lost their rhythm when Nico Collins went out, and they have not gotten it back yet. See, I don't know what's going on with CJ Stroud, sophomore slump, whatever it may be. But if you look at
I think it's that offensive line. That offensive line is Swiss cheese. And when his seems today, when he does have time a little bit, that clock in his head is sped up faster because he's taken so many hits this year.
As it's projected right now, they're playing the Chargers in the first round, and they're not going to beat the Chargers in the first round.
I would take the Chargers.
I would take the Chargers. So if you looked at the stats today, Nico Collins, 119 receiving yards out of his 242 passing yards. So clearly he's a one trick pony in terms of going to receivers. It's Nico Collins. And if Nico Collins is not open, he does not know what to do with the ball. Dalton Schultz is gone. Mixon only catches a few passes out of the backfield. Tank Dell has disappeared since Collins has come back. So
and we know Diggs is out for the year. So
Diggs is out for the year. So I'm a lot worried about CJ Stroud in Houston. I think they're a first round exit, no matter who they play in the first playoffs. So
I agree, Craig. I'd let T-Law sit for the rest of the year. It's a wash year. Head coach is probably getting fired. I'd let him sit for the rest of the year. It's the Mac Jones show for the next 5-6 games. What do we have? 4 games? Yeah.
They want to lose as many games as they can to get as high a draft pick as they can. So that's the way I look at it. I'm with you on that. I'd go T-Law the rest of the way for I would go Mac Jones, and that's not great saying but it's we'll get into the next game here. It's Colts and your Patriots. The Patriots are doing exactly what you want, Scott. Look good and lose. That's right.
This is not the third or fourth straight one-score game that they have lost. Colts go down, could have tied it. They go for 2. They get it. They win 25-24 in a close game in which the Colts come from behind. Not a great game from Anthony Richardson, 12-24, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jonathan Taylor, 25 carries, 96 yards. Did catch a touchdown there. Jonathan Taylor did. So, and then you get to your Patriots. Drake May continues to play pretty well. 24, 30, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Ramondre Stevenson, 18 carries, 73 yards. Hunter Henry, 77 for 75. I just want to say this too. To me, Ramondre Stevenson's the most frustrating fantasy player this year because every time I play him, he shits the bed. Every time I don't play him, he performs at least halfway decent. So, but that's it. But your thoughts on Colts Patriots? Colts have a chance here to make the playoffs.
Yeah, if Denver loses tomorrow night, they're a game out of the playoff spot, last playoff spot. So they have a shot. They realistically have a shot. I don't know if they play Denver at the end of the year, but Anthony Richardson's doing what Anthony Richardson does: 50% completion, running the ball for around 50 yards, ran in the 2-point conversion to win the game. So he's doing enough. He's looked better than he did at the beginning of the season. That's hard to say right now, but he is. And Drake May's throwing some high percentage passes. He's not gambling. He's throwing high percentage passes, short, and letting his receivers do the work. So
to me, though, this is exactly, if I'm a Patriots fan, I'm pretty satisfied. Like, hey, you know what? We're losing games, but we're keeping it close, and we're going to get a high pick, but we're showing our young quarterback showing some promise. Our team is maybe not the most talented team out there, but we're showing some fight, and we're a young team. So hopefully we can, in the next year, we learn from this experience and move forward.
This is better than what any Patriot fan could have wanted. Drake May has come in and looked solid as a quarterback.
Yeah,
in his first year, and that's what we wanted. So I'm perfectly happy with where he is now. He's only going to grow. He's only going to get better. So.
Yeah, let me look at it. We mentioned the Colts, and I was going to pull up their schedule because they can still make the playoffs after getting 6-7 today. So their next 4 games, they got the Broncos. They got a bye next week. So then after the bye, they got the Broncos. Then they got, which is a big game. The Broncos got a chance to make the playoffs. Then they got the Titans, Giants, Jaguars.
So they could go. They can win They can win those next 4 games.
Yeah, I would probably pick them to lose against the Broncos, but
I would.
The last 3 are winnable. But we've also seen them lose games to I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, they lost to the Jaguars earlier this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't really lost. You look at their record, they've kind of lost the teams that they were supposed to lose to, other than that Jaguars game, and they've beaten teams that they were kind of supposed to all at the same time. So
I think if Taylor had been healthy the whole year and not been out for those number of games, I think they'd probably be the 7th seed right now. That's my opinion.
I just think they're a little less talented. It's gonna be tough because I think the Chargers, who we're getting ready to talk about in their game, and then who's got the number one defense. Yep. And then you got Denver, who I think is a very good defense as well. That's one thing the Colts don't have, is a good defense. So I think that in Anthony Richardson, like you just said, he's going to do what he does. He's going to be about 50% from the throwing the football, and then he's going to run around a little bit as well. So.
Yeah, having said what I said about the Patriots, they haven't put 24 points up that often in a game. So for them to put 24 up, your defense is not top notch. So,
yeah. The Falcons lose here 17-13 to the Chargers. They fall to 6-6, opening up for this AFC South. There for a second, we'll talk about that Bucs game in Carolina. I was like, shoot, if Carolina wins this game, they got a chance to make the playoffs. But they didn't win. They lose in overtime, and we'll get to that game here in a little bit. But Chargers, they continue to find ways to win. 8-4. It's never pretty, which is, I think, a perfect Jim Harbaugh team. Justin Herbert, 16-23, only 147 yards. Gus Edwards, 4 for 32, 9 for 117 for Ladd McConkey. But the defense is what won this game for them, as they picked off Kirk Cousins 4 times. Kirk Cousins, early turd of the week possibility. Bijan Robinson, 26 of 102 and a touchdown, but it didn't matter. The Chargers, like I said, they pick off Kirk Cousins 4 times and win one. What your thoughts here, Scott, on Chargers and the Falcons?
Oh, Kirk Cousins, he giveth and he taketh away. 4 interceptions. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. The guy has no hardly any mobility. He's a pocket passer, clearly like in the Tom Brady mold, and he just gives games away. I mean, the Falcons had this division on lock 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now all of a
they
sudden
beat Tampa Bay twice. So it's going to be tough for Tampa Bay to kind of catch up, but man, you still got a fighting chance.
It is, but do we think Atlanta's going to win 3 or 4 games out of the last 5? I can't say they're going to. That's the whole thing. You got to use Bijan more too. Bijan should be getting 25 carries a game. and and they're playing around. It's like playing with your food.
Yeah.
I mean, Cousins.
Hey, Cousins threw one in the end zone. I mean, it was like a loft ball in triple coverage, and the Chargers, that was like too easy. Like my 7-year-old son could have caught that for an interception.
Yeah. I mean, you have 3 studs in the receiving corps: Kyle Pitts, Donnell Mooney, Drake London. And you can't unlock Pitts, which I don't think he'll ever be unlocked. London had a great game today.
Well, maybe Pitts, maybe we can start just saying this is Kyle Pitts who he is. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like we can get over the unlocked Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is unlocked, folks. This is just who he is.
This is who he is. But Donnell Mooney had a subpar game today. I don't know if the hamstring was bothering him or whatever, but Drake London was fine. So Bijan was fine.
Well, I mean, you're going to have a subpar game when your quarterback's throwing 4 interceptions.
Absolutely. He's turning the ball over like a bake shop. So, yeah, I wouldn't put stock in Atlanta winning this division. They're far, far away from anything because of Kirk Cousins. He can't stand prosperity. So,
their defense isn't any dang good either. You know what I mean? Like their defense isn't great either. So,
no, what did the Chargers do today besides McConkey? Nothing. And you still lost to that team. So kudos to Jim Harbaugh for doing what he's doing. He's doing a phenomenal job. He's coach of the year in my mind, without question. He's close to it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree. I think Dan Quinn might have something to say.
Yeah,
and Mike Tomlin has something to say.
Andy Reid would have something to say if they go 16-1 or 15-2.
Yeah. I don't think people will give it to Andy because those are expectations usually being somewhat met. But I'm looking at the Falcons. The Falcons' remaining schedule here. They got the Vikings next week. Who the Vikings win a thriller somehow again today. Our Kirk Cousins revenge game. So
should be.
Yeah. I mean, Craig's right here too. KOC of Minnesota. I mean, who would have thought what he's done with Sam Darnold? And I don't want to say same thing with MCDC, Craig, is that I think the expectations of Detroit being really good and he's meeting those expectations. Now, I'm not disagreeing. He probably couldn't be coach of the year, but I just think I look at my coach is a team that exceeded expectations, a team that, Dan Quinn or somebody like that. So then the Falcons got then they got the Raiders. But I don't know about this Falcons team. I want to say they should win, but they could lose.
I agree.
Then they got the Giants, Commanders, and they finished with the fighting Panthers. So
that Commanders game is going to be huge, I think. The Vikings game's huge too, obviously, because if they lose a division lead, I don't know if they can get it back. Tampa, we'll go into Tampa in a little bit, but their schedule is cake down the stretch here.
Yeah,
it's cake. So
let's get into the disaster that continues to be the New York Jets. The Jets had a lead going into the fourth quarter. The Seahawks stormed back. The Jets didn't score a single point in the second half. Actually, it was 20. They were up 21-16 at halftime, and then they were going into the fourth quarter up 21-16. And then here come the Seahawks. They win 21-26 to get to 7-5, maintain first place in their division. The Jets continue to fall. They are 3-9. Geno Smith, 20-31, 206 yards, 1 touchdown. Kenneth Walker, 16 for 49. JSN, it's 4 for 74, but I swear every time I see a Seahawks play, and it's a big play, it is JSN this year. It seems like all the time. DK Metcalf, nice game for 4 for 66. You get to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, 21-39 at 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Breece Hall, only 12 carries for 60 yards. That's probably why you blow a lead. Devontae had 5 for 66. Garrett Wilson, 5 for 41. The Jets are the absolute most disappointing team in the league, but it is blown up in their faces and then some.
They did not do anything on offense after the first quarter. That second quarter touchdown for them was a kick return. 99 yards.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Other than that, they did nothing on offense. And Aaron Rodgers says it's all 11 people. So, well, I would take a look at yourself, Aaron, before you start passing the blame around. You got to run Breece Hall more. You got to get the ball into Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson's hands. You can't get the ball into their hands. If I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, it's just a totally lost season. They're going to have to scrap this plan and start over again for the 5th time in the last 7 years. So,
somebody tweeted this out, and I think I sent it to. I think I put it in our group. So here's where we were at today. Geno Smith, former Jet quarterback, was playing the Jets with Mark Sanchez, former Jet quarterback, calling the game. Mike Tannenbaum, who was one time the Jets general manager, is helping find the new general manager for a guy who he had that position. And Coach Rex Ryan, who was once the Jets head coach, is begging for that to be the new Jets head coach again. I mean, Woody Johnson probably. I mean, I think I went on the tangent about this last week about what the fuck are the Jets doing? Mike, you're going to hire Mike Tannenbaum, who I think at one time said the Lions should give up three first round picks and somebody else for Myles Garrett. Like, that's the guy you want to – you already fired him once to be the general manager. Now you're going to be like, you know what? The guy I fired, I think he can find the guy to do his job even better. So let's see.
Where was Mike Tannenbaum? ESPN? Where's Rex Ryan? Yeah. ESPN. I have a feeling if he gets hired as GM, Rex Ryan's the next call he makes to be the head coach.
No, well, Mike Tannenbaum is searching for the new general manager.
He may go to Woody Johnson and say, hey, I'm the best guy for the job. Give me the job.
I found that I'm the only guy. Hire me back. We can get the band back together.
That's right. And if that's the case, you have Bill Belichick sitting out there. I don't know if he'd want to come back again, but, I mean, you got Vrabel, Belichick. So. You got the Detroit OC who could probably help this team, Ben Johnson.
Would you want to go there? If I'm Ben Johnson, I would rather stay OC in Detroit. Like, don't go there.
He wanted to go to Chicago last year before they brought back Eberflus. That was the rumor that was going around. To be honest, I don't know where Ben Johnson want to go. I agree. I'll stay in Detroit. Thank you.
I'll be an OC, and that way my name's not getting struck through the mud because the top people can't get it right.
That's right. The rumor I heard is Ben Johnson wants to go to Jacksonville. That's the rumor.
I can see that. Yeah.
It wouldn't be a bad spot, but Trevor Lawrence might not be the quarterback you want. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But
yeah, Jets are the only team that can make the Cowboys. Yeah, I mean,
to be honest with you, I don't know who the Jets would hire. I really don't. I don't know if anybody would want to.
I don't know. Yeah, Seattle again. I mean, it's like nobody wants to win the NFC South, the NFC West. Like nobody wants to win these divisions. I feel like, and Seattle finds a way to win here with Geno Smith and the boys get it done.
Seattle has the ball 1st and goal on the 1. Kenneth Walker runs, gets stuffed, and then they forget about him. They pass the ball 3 times, 3 passes that were never going to get completed. What are you doing? Just keep running the ball. He's gonna get in. He's 1 yard away. He's just stud back. Give him the ball. Mike McDonald says, no, I want to pass it 3 times and then kick a field goal. What are you doing? Makes no sense. Another coach.
Well, they went for it on 4th down and got sacked one time.
They did. Maybe that was it. Maybe they didn't kick a field goal. Maybe they went for it.
No, they didn't kick a field goal. Yeah, they went for it and they got sacked on 4th and goal.
What are you doing? Just hit the ball and stud back 4 times.
Bill Belichick and so he can resign.
Day 1. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it's just a mess in New York. It just really is. They should tank.
Both football teams.
Yeah. Sorry, Carlos.
Yeah, the Giants stink too.
Yeah,
they're just as bad. I couldn't tell you which team stinks worse there at MetLife. Like I mean, if you went through it, let's get a team that is on the rise, and that is the Commanders. They win 42-19. To get to 8-5, they can't beat anybody good, but they beat the best teams, and the Commanders can, and they beat the Titans here. Will Levis goes 18 for 37, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard 8 for 35. Nikeek Westbrook, NWI, we'll call him, 3 receptions, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. They said a stat today. He's got like 18 catches, and like 7 of them are for touchdowns.
Yep. including that 98-yarder 2 weeks ago in a broken play. Yeah, he's only got 18 touches this year. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Half of them are for touchdowns.
Half of them for touchdowns. Yeah.
Talk about boomer bust. Jaden Daniels, 25 of 30, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. You got tired of people talking about Bo Nix taking a spot for Rookie of the Year and balled out today. Brian Robinson Jr., 16 for 103 and a touchdown. Chris Rodriguez Jr., 13 for 94 and a touchdown. Fantasy players, you might want to think about Mr. Rodriguez Jr. because Austin Eckler went on IR. Terry McLaurin continues his great game, 8 for 73 and 2 touchdowns. Zach Ertz, 3 for 35 and a touchdown as well. Scott, any thoughts here on Titans and Commanders? I mean, the Commanders could still make they're right there for the playoffs as a wild card for sure.
They are. Number one, the Commanders cut Chris Rodriguez and brought him back when Austin Eckler went on IR. So anybody could have had Chris Rodriguez, and nobody took him. So that's number one. Number two, Jaden Daniels was the Rookie of the Year. I mean, every rookie goes through these 2 or 3 games that are really, really look bad and really aren't. He did. So he has come out of it, and he looked great today. I sat down, it was already 14-0 Commanders. They scored 2 touchdowns like lightning fast. They couldn't stop
the game was over after that, I feel like. The game was over once they were,
The Titans couldn't stop the run, which was their strength. They couldn't stop the pass. I mean, they couldn't do anything on defense and offense, too. So I don't know what they're going to do with Levis. I don't know if he's the solution, but Sam said it time and time again. Callahan is in over his head, and he certainly looks like he is. So I don't know what they're going to do. They'll probably bring him back next year, but firing Beretta.
Do you bring Will Levis back next year? It just depends, I guess, how the draft board falls, or do you look at somebody
and how free agency falls. I mean, those are the two.
He's gotten better. I will say he's gotten better throughout the year. You know what I mean?
He has been.
Does he look like a long-term guy that you want? I think most people said this, Carlos, too, when they picked him, was like probably not the guy that you want. I don't think anybody was excited.
I think when they picked him, he was the last quarterback available. So they had to
in the second round. He went in the second round.
Yeah, he did. He did. So they may have to scrap it all over and start all over again. In their depth, you got Westbrook Akina as your second wide receiver, NWI. That's not a good look for your team. So,
yeah. Let's get into a absolute wild game. This was like one of the highest scoring Steelers-Bengals games of the year. Steelers win 44 of all time. Steelers win 44-38 to get to 9-3. They maintain first place in this division. Bengals season officially over. I mean, it was. I had it over. This was vintage Russ here. 29-38, 414 yards, not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Najee Harris, 16 carries, 75 yards and a touchdown. George Pickens, 3 for 74 and a touchdown. Pat Fairmouth, 6 for 68 and a touchdown. This guy would be MVP if his team would fucking win games, Scott, and that's my guy, Joe Burrow.
Yes,
another killer game, 28-38, 309 yards, 3 touchdowns. Chase Brown, 12 for 70 and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 6 for 86 and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 5 for 69 and a touchdown. But the Bengals lose again to fall. I think Zach Taylor should be fired. Go ahead, scrap him out, get him out, bring somebody in, bring some toughness to this team. And if I'm, we just talked about Ben Johnson. If Zach Taylor goes, that's the place I'm going. Give me Joe Burrow in that group of players before I go anywhere else. That would be I think if the Bengals if Zach Taylor got fired, the Bengals job would be the number 1 sought after job.
It certainly would. I mean, you got talent galore on the offensive side, except you got to find a way to sign T. Higgins. You got to find a way to sign Jamar Chase. I don't know if they're going to have enough money to sign both. Chase Brown has come on as a running back, so that running game is pretty set right now. And Gesicki can be a serviceable tight end for them. So on offense, they're fine. Even if they lose Higgins, to sign Chase to a big deal and stuff like that. On the defensive side, they're just awful. They're just really awful. They can't tackle. They can't cover. They can't do anything. Russell Wilson's the comeback player of the year in my mind. Russell Wilson has been phenomenal for the Steelers. They have put themselves in a position now where they could grab the number 3 seed and be a tough out in the AFC playoffs. I just think if they go to Buffalo, it's going to be a different story. Buffalo's going to have a hard time beating them. So, and again, Mike Tomlin has a winning season again for what, the 20th time in a row or something like that. It's amazing what he does.
Yeah,
with that team.
Yeah, secured and this Steelers team looks really good. Like they can run the ball well with Najee Harris. They can get the passing game going as they did today a little bit. They finally were able to. They went through a lull, it seemed like, with Russ, where they were just kicking a lot of field goals. They had to figure this red zone out. Today it didn't seem like they needed it. It could have been the Bengals defense, like you alluded to as well. Not their Bengals defense isn't very good. But Russ, I mean, he's an early favorite for maybe a dog of the week here, and what he did. The Bengals, like I said, I would fire Zach Taylor. Like it's
absolutely no doubt.
We know how they are in Cincinnati. They don't like firing coaches. Remember what Marv Lewis was there for like 10 years and was always 8-8. So
how are you
who
4-8 with this team? How are you 4-8 with this team? Their offensive personnel are awesome. They're one of the best in the NFL, and you're 4-8. You keep
Joe Burrow would be MVP hands down if they had a winning record.
If they were 8-4, he would be in the MVP race right now with Josh Allen.
He would be the leader. He leads the league in touchdowns.
Yeah, he does, and he's going to end up leading the league in passing yards too, because they're just gonna let it go now. They're gonna throw the ball all over the place now. They got nothing to lose now. They're 4-8. If they go 5-12, they don't care. So
yeah, Bengals score 32 points last 4 games and still lose.
Agreed. Burrow's the quarterback, the trigger man for that offense. He's great. He's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. My mind.
Yeah, his team just stinks. It's legit Dan Marino-esque. You know what I mean? Like, and if you really think about it,
could he be a guy that he's not won the Super Bowl in his career?
Yeah,
possibly.
Very easily. Yeah. It's already Dan Marino-esque, right? Like, remember, Marino went to the Super Bowl his like second year, and so did Joe Burrow. And then it's like, then they went like 5 years where they didn't make the play. Like, this is what the Bengals track is on. He is on Dan Marino-esque, So, yeah, this is the Dolphins. That's what I'm saying, Carlos. This is the Dolphins from the 90s. Like, they're going to – the 80s and 90s, like, they're going to throw up a bunch of fucking points, and they're still going to lose games, and Joe Burrow's going to be Joe Burrow.
Here's what I will tell you. If they do make a change of head coach and Ben Johnson is the guy, as soon as the odds come out to make the playoffs, put a bet in on the Bengals to make the playoffs because they'll go to the playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
Without question. So that would be my opinion.
Ooh, we got a flag there. All right, we'll see. We'll get into the next game here. What a wild game this was. Cardinals had the lead again, and here come the Vikings. Man, I was hoping the Cardinals could pull this out, but the Vikings win 23-22. They scored 10 unanswered points here to win the game 23-22. And Sam Darnold struggled all the way up, and I felt like struggled most of this game until the fourth quarter. Kyler Murray, 31-45, 206 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. James Conner, 17-68. Trey McBride, 12-96. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5-60 and a touchdown. You get to the Vikings. Sam Darnold, 21-31, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, 5-22. Justin Jefferson, 7-99. Vikings find a way to stay pace kind of with the Lions. Lions got 1 loss. Vikings got 2 losses. Packers have 3 losses. So, this NFC North is killer. And then the Cardinals fall to 6-6. So, Seattle gains another game on them.
How the heck did the Vikings win this game? I'll never know. Justin Jefferson was at 2 receptions for 32 yards for most of the game. And then all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, he went off. Donald went off. Hawkinson had a good game. Aaron Jones ran the ball not well at all, and then caught that winning touchdown. The Cardinals won full control of this game. I mean, who wants to win the NFC West? It doesn't seem like anybody wants to right now except Seattle. So, I mean, as we'll talk about the next game, there's another NFC West team. It's just the Cardinals just can't stand prosperity. Kyler Murray is really inconsistent right now, and I don't think this is going to get any better for them. So, I mean, they have the Patriots in 2 weeks. They're on their bye next week, this coming week, I think. No, they're not in their bye this week. But they got the Patriots coming up. They got a good schedule coming up, but they're not consistent enough on offense. They just aren't. I don't buy that.
I don't know how the Vikings. I said this 2 years ago. They had a horseshoe up their ass, and by God, I think it might have found its way back up there this year because man, they win some close games.
They're going to end up being a 5 or a 6 seed because I think either Detroit or Green Bay is going to win that division.
I think Detroit is right now. I mean, it's
Detroit is right now, but Thursday night will go a long, long way in determining who's going to be in that division race. If Detroit wins, then Detroit's got it on lock, basically. But if Green Bay wins, it's wide open again.
Yeah, so we were talking about the Seahawks Cardinals. They play each other next week, so that's a must win for the Cardinals because they just played each other 2 weeks ago or last weekend. And they lost, so you can't lose two. You can't. This is a must-win if they're going to win this division. They're only going to get one team in that division and probably make the playoffs. So you hope that you can squeeze in there. That's a must-win. Outside of that, then they got the Patriots, Panthers. Then they got the last 2 games of the season are against the Rams and 49ers. So 2 teams that are looking to try to make the playoffs there as well.
Yeah, if the 49ers lose tonight, that by that time they could just be a team that's got backups in playing. So,
yeah, Alan, that's pretty much it's going to be the 2 teams, the NFC North and Washington, are going to be the wild card. So
but Alan, if Detroit loses, they got to play Minnesota again. So that's not.
They got to play Green Bay again too. They got to play Green Bay again.
They got to play Green Bay. So if
Green Bay's got all 3 division games still got to play at least another time. They're not.
So it's wide open. If Green Bay wins Thursday night, it's going to be wide open to the end for that NFC North. So
yeah, we'll see what happens. That's a big game Thursday night, and Green Bay's got Minnesota week 18, or 17.
Which will be a huge game too. That'll be a huge game as well.
We'll get into the next one here. The Rams find a way to win 21-14 here, get to 6-6, 500. All the injuries this team dealt with throughout the season, 500. Right there in this, we just keep saying this team, the NFC West is wide open. They got a chance. I actually probably like them more than any team. Give me Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay and Kyron Williams to win that division. I think they can do it. Matthew Stafford today, 12 of 24, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams, 15 for 104 and a touchdown. Puka Nacua, 5 for 56 and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp only had 3 for 17. You get to the Saints here. Derek Carr, 24, 37, 184 yards, 1 touchdown. Alvin Kamara, 23, 112. Taysom Hill, 5 for 34. So Rams win 21-14. Saints fall to 4-8. Rams get to 500 here.
Taysom Hill got carted off late in the game, so I don't know what the deal is with that, but he got carted off. So there goes a weapon. You didn't have many anyway. If New Orleans had won this game and Taysom Hill is out for the year, I would say they were done. They're definitely done now. The Rams don't mind giving up rushing yards. They do a great job defending the pass. And I think that's the ticket because Saquon went off at 255 last week and a bunch, and they didn't do much on the passing game. Same thing with the Saints today. Kamara goes 100 yards. Saints don't give up a lot in the passing game. So, that's the Rams' formula to victory is we'll let you run the ball. We'll let you get as many yards as you want on the ground. But when you're ready to throw the ball, you ain't getting nothing on us. So, and it's worked. And next week, again, it's a huge week for the Rams. These games are huge. These are all playoff games for them. So they may be ready when the playoffs come if they make it, which I think they will. I think they're going to win that division. I'm right with you. I don't think Seattle's going to.
Yeah, I trust them more than any team right now.
I do. I agree.
Give me Sean McVay. Give me Matthew Stafford and that team. They're a young team. They're still kind of on this. They're like rebuild type. From that Super Bowl when they paid everybody and they lost all their draft picks and they got the ring, but now they're kind of putting this thing still together. And as long as Matthew Stafford's their quarterback and healthy, and they've went through so many injuries, the offensive line, Puka and Cooper being out for extended periods of time. half quarter of the season, a quarter and almost a half of the season. And now here they are healthy and they're finally clicking. So
huge test next week. They got Buffalo in their place next Sunday. So huge test for them to see if they can keep this going.
Yeah, they are getting healthier, Alan. So let's get into the next one here. We got Bucks win 26-23 in overtime. Baker leads the team down with 30 seconds left, gets the game tying field goal. And then this was after Bryce Young put a hell of a drive together for a go-ahead touchdown. And then Baker answers back with 30 seconds left of the game tying field goal. And then they win the game in overtime by a field goal, 26-23, a heartbreaker here for Carolina. But Bryce Young looked good. His looked good. But Baker, 21-33, 235 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Bucky Irving ran all over him, 25 of 152 and a touchdown. Mike Epps, 8 for 118 and a touchdown. You get to the Panthers here. Bryce Young has looked a lot better since coming back from that benching. 26 of 46, 298 yards, 1 touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, 12 for 43. Adam Thielen, 8 for 99 and a touchdown. Scott, your thoughts here? Bucks 6-6 and 500. I don't know if they can, because they got swept by Atlanta, but I'd like this team to win this division. I just don't know if they can do it because of Atlanta having that pretty much 2-game tiebreaker over them after the sweep.
I agree with you. I think if Tampa gets the lead in the division, I think Atlanta could be in a lot of trouble. So Atlanta's best option, they got to win. Because if Tampa win, like I said, they get the lead in the division, I think they're going to put it on ice based on their schedule coming up. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, Bryce Young has looked like the number 1 draft pick in the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's been phenomenally good. The last 2 games, Adam Thielen's been back. That has helped him out a lot. So I think that Adam Thielen, being the vet he is, has helped Bryce Young become a better quarterback. He caught the touchdown with 30 seconds left to take the lead, and then Baker Mayfield led him back on the field goal drive. But Carolina's, they almost beat the Chiefs. They almost beat the Bucks today. So they are in these games. They are playing hard for Canales, and
they're improving. They're improving. They're improving
Yes.
from the first half of the season. That's what you wanted to see from a young team.
Yep, absolutely. And they're going on the road to play Philly next week, which will be another test. But I think they'll be ready for them. I really do. I like the way that they look today against the Bucks.
Yeah, you mentioned Tampa's schedule the rest of the way. So they got the Raiders next week. They do have a tough game against the Chargers. They got to go to LA for that one. That'll be tough. Then they got the Cow. Then they go to Dallas and they're home to the Panthers and Saints the last 2 weeks. So, we'll see what happens. Cowboys win on Thursday, and that's their second win in a row, and now they're thinking playoffs. But give me Baker and the boys over Cooper Rush in that group. So
Dallas can't win at home. So
Carolina's doing well. Yeah, I think Carolina. If I'm a Panthers fan, I'm saying, you know what, while we're not winning these games, I feel better about the season what I did say 5 weeks ago.
Agreed. Bryce Young has been phenomenal. This is what he needed.
Because 5 weeks ago, we're talking, we got to trade Bryce, got to get rid of him. He stinks. Kid's a bust. And now he looks like he can be a legit quarterback in this league. Just get them some damn help and some weapons, and that they're learning. They're a young team and they're learning. So,
well, Nick, what was the caveat going in before last year when Canales was in Tampa Bay? Oh, they signed Baker Mayfield. Oh, he's not going to be good in Tampa. He's done. And Baker had one of his best years in his career. So Canales has gone to Carolina, and Bryce Young started out slow, and Canales benched him and brought him back, and he's looked much, much better. So Canales is the secret cheat code to Baker and to Bryce Young performing at a good level for their team. So going into next year, Carolina is one of the teams to watch next year, I think. So,
yeah, they'll likely. So Alan says even if we did win most of the last 5, the teams ahead of us will likely clinch the coming weeks anyway. So it's going to be for pride at this point. He's talking about the Cowboys and
Cowboys. Cowgirls.
We'll get into what people thought was going to be maybe the game of the day. a lot closer. But the Eagles, I mean, they just kind of manhandled the 24-19. They get to 10-2. Ravens fall to 8-5. Jalen Hurts 11 for 19, 118, 1 touchdown. Saquon Barkley, we can't say it enough. 23 carries, 107 yards, 1 touchdown. Jalen Hurts also had a rush for a touchdown. Dallas Goedert 3 for 35 and a touchdown. You get to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson 26 to 36, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry 19 for 82. And not much in the Mark Andrews 6 for 67 and a touchdown. Isaiah Likely did score a garbage time touchdown, 5 for 38 and a touchdown. But the Ravens lose here, Scott. The Eagles, I think, like I said, to me, them and the Lions are the 2 best teams in the league.
I agree 100%. I think that what the Chiefs have shown the last couple of weeks has put Philadelphia in that position to be the 2nd best team in the league. A lot of Lamar's production was in garbage time. He had a 40-yard run late, with about 30 seconds left in the game, and he threw that touchdown. So Philly did a great job on the Ravens offense. And they again, looks like Lions, Eagles in the championship game unless something catastrophic happens to one of those 2 teams. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think Green Bay can hang with them. I really do. I think Green Bay played their best game on Thanksgiving Day of the season. Yeah. I really do. That was the best game I've seen him play. I still worry that Jordan Love, he's thrown a lot of interceptions. Now he's gone 2 games with no picks. So, but the 49ers game, he threw it in a couple players' hands. They just didn't drop him. Last night on Thursday night, I felt like that was his best game. And this was the time of year last year where he went on a great stretch, and we did too. So hopefully we can continue that, but we'll see. I think, but for me, the Eagles and the Lions are the 2 best teams in the league, and then I got to say the Chiefs, are right there as well.
What today's loss for the Ravens did is almost ensure that they're a wild card team, and they're going to be on the road for the playoffs, and that's not a great proposition. Because
I think I've seen that, Carlos, on the it's in the game, the Madden story.
I think I watched a little bit of it too. But yeah, the Ravens are going to be on the road for the playoffs, and that's not a place you want to be. So,
yeah, they talk about that Madden rating. I'll
take a look at it probably Tuesday or Wednesday. So,
yeah. Anyway, Scott, before we get out of here, we got to get of our dogs and turds of the week. There's a litany of turds out for sure, but who is your turd of the week?
It's Kirk Cousins. 245 yards, 4 interceptions against a Chargers team that is good defensively, but not overwhelming. With all that offensive weaponry you have at your disposal to throw 4 interceptions, he just did what Kirk Cousins does. 4 interceptions, doesn't throw a touchdown, looks shaky, gives the game away. He gave the game away today. The Falcons had this division unlocked 3 weeks ago, and Kirk Cousins since then has performed not well at all. So Michael Penix calls are going to be getting loud and boisterous pretty soon here if he doesn't turn this around. So Kirk Cousins is my turd of the week.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little something different here. Ugh. My turd of the week comes from none other than Ohio State head coach Ryan Day. I know this, we usually talk NFL, but I could have went Matt Eberflus. I could have went Kirk Cousins, but you covered that. I'm going to give it to none other than Ohio State head coach Ryan Day. Your team, who is supposed to be the best, most athletic team, the best team Ohio State has had on paper, and you were supposed to absolutely clobber Michigan, a 6-5 Michigan at best. And you let Michigan go into the house, into the horseshoe, and win. They out-physicaled you. They beat you down. And then you guys just had more fight after the damn game, throwing punches and shit like that than they did during the damn game. And all you could do was stand there with a disgust look on your face. Ryan Day. You didn't have your players ready to play on the field, and they didn't know how to act after the game. You are my you are my turd of the week, Ryan Day.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Ryan Day, James Franklin. Where's the difference? There's no difference.
Well, Ryan Day could beat James Franklin a few times, so
that's it.
there it is. Who is your dog of the week?
It was initially Jaden Daniels, but I changed it. It's Bucky Irving. 150 plus yards for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The touchdown that got him on their way. Baker Mayfield was okay, was not great, was not bad, but he was just okay. So my stud of the week is Bucky Irving.
Yeah, my dog of the week. You smell that? It was Russ cooking, Scott. That's right. My dog of the week is none other than Russ Wilson. 29 of 38, 414 yards, not one, not two, but 3 touchdowns as the Steelers win a big division game, get to 9-3 as they beat down the Bengals. Russ was cooking, baby. Russ Wilson, my absolute dog of the week.
Comeback player of the year, too, for sure.
Yeah, I could have went Jaden Daniels. I like the Bucky Irving. He definitely balled out today as well. But when you get vintage Russ, I mean, that was Russ's best game in a Steeler uniform. That might have been his best game in 5 years
since Seattle, for sure. For sure, he didn't do anything like this in Denver at all.
Yeah.
So Russell Wilson could be comeback player of the year. Could lead his team to the AFC title game. Could do a bunch of things this year. So we'll see how it goes. So
yeah, Eberflus turd of the week. Yeah, Craig, I know you're a Bears, but he's fired. I didn't want to shit on the guy even more. They've been my turd of the week several times, and the Bears finally got smart and light and fired him just 14 weeks too late. So
yep.
He says Arrowhead refs come in the clutch again. So. Yeah, Alan, we did talk Ravens-Eagles. We were talking about the Eagles being the second best team in the NFL, really. Absolutely. Let me ask you, I think the NFC top to bottom right now, as far as playoff wise, is better than the AFC.
Yeah, without question. I think that the Minnesota Vikings have come out of nowhere, played really well this year. I think the Packers, we all knew were going to play well. I think the Lions have played a little bit better than even I think a lot of us thought, being 11-1. And I think the Eagles, who a lot of questions were heaped upon them beginning of the year, have answered them. So, and the Commanders too. So take out Kansas City in the AFC. And Buffalo? Who's there? There really
the Steelers are. So you got the Steelers 9-2.
Yeah, other than the Steelers.
Yeah. 9-3, I guess. Buffalo's 9-2. If they win right now, they would get their 10th win. They're winning 7-3 here in the second quarter. And then you look at the NFC. You got Detroit 11-1, Philly 10-2, Minnesota 10-2, Green Bay 9-3. You got Washington at 8-5. I don't know. I mean, it'd be tough. If you look head to head, I think that Detroit and Philly are better than Kansas City and Buffalo, but then after that, I don't know, man. It's almost. I'm looking at Chargers at 8-4. Are they better? I would favor them over the Commanders, but I don't know if I'd favor them over Green Bay, Minnesota. You know what I mean? So
I think if I'm power ranking the top 4 teams in the NFL right now, it's Detroit, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Green Bay. Those are the top 4. Minnesota's 5th. I think Green Bay is better than Minnesota, but that's 4 NFC teams out of 5.
Pittsburgh's right there, probably 4 or 5.
Buffalo's right there too.
Yeah,
I mean you can put them in the mix too. But I just think that Matt LaFleur does not get enough credit for what he does with that team.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
He's got him there again. So. Yeah, I like Green Bay a lot. I like what they're doing. They don't have the best receiving core. Christian Watson has not been what everybody hoped he would be. Jaden Reed's been better than I think advertised, but Josh Jacobs has been the glue to that team. Make no mistake about it. So,
yeah, he's been phenomenal. Even Aaron Jones, has been good for
Minnesota.
From Minnesota. So,
I agree.
all right, well, I guess that's it. So we'll be back tomorrow night on the LTS show on the LTS network, folks. So please check us out. This has been another great NFL reaction show. Scott, I appreciate you filling in for Johnny. Johnny's, like I said, he's sick from watching the Dolphins get beat down by my Packers.
Nick, he's just not talking to you because you guys beat him down good. So
hey, we did. Like I said, that's the best game I thought Green Bay played all season. Was Thanksgiving night, and I've watched every game. So I just felt like, man, we hopefully we can continue this and we can finally get going. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see you guys next week, 8:00 or 7:00 Central, 8 Eastern, right here for NFL Week 14 reaction. Can't wait for that. So be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.